Welcome to today's masterclass. My name is Jose Rivera, and I am the CEO of CSIA. I will be your host today. In case you don't know about CSIA, we are a global non-profit trade association with over 500 members in 35 countries. For system integrator members, the CSIA Best Practices Manual and the CSIA certification are some of the more popular member benefits, but you will also enjoy a variety of other benefits, including professional development, learning from your peers, access to professional services experts, including insurance, financial, and legal, who understand the system integrator's unique business needs. For partner members, CSIA offers an ecosystem to grow your system integration program, understand your customers' pain points, monitor industry trends, and share your thought leadership. With thousands of qualified integrators and suppliers, the CSIA Industrial Automation Exchange helps system integrators, industry suppliers, and manufacturers connect and do business. For SIs and partners, it provides a platform to support your content and SEO marketing efforts, position yourself as a thought leader, and nurture prospects during their complicated buyer's journey. For SIs and for vendor partners, we're introducing the first-timer package. Join between now and August 31st, and your first-timer package will include 50% of membership dues, because we are now at the middle of the year and dues are prorated. And we have put together this package for companies that join during this time. We're calling it this Innovation for Integration, and this package includes a free listing in this new EPUB, but also some other goodies to help you get your message and brand in front of your customers. To get all the details, go to www.controlsys.org/shine. I'm about to introduce Paolo Denti from EasyVPN, but I would like to remind you to put your questions in the Q&A box, and throughout the event, or most likely towards the end, we will address your questions, but please put them in the Q&A box, not the chat. So without any further ado, I would like to introduce now Paolo Denti. Paolo?
Thank you. So thank you everyone for joining our webinar. Let me share my screen, and thank you. Good morning to everyone. Good afternoon for the people joining from Europe. And before diving into IOhub, which is the main topic of this morning, I would like to talk a little bit about why we created IOhub. And I would like to tell you that our team has a huge experience in designing software applications for the industrial environment. And during many years, we found that many system integrators, many companies have a huge competence in developing their application on their PLC for data collection, but pretty much everyone was struggling trying to make a complete automatic factory, integrating all the parts existing in the factory. And the reason why this is happening is because it's very much complicated. In an industrial system, you have so many heterogeneous systems. You have PLCs stuck in different protocols. You have digital systems like ERPs, MES, cloud system, databases, and even the way they talk each other is totally different. You have messaging, you have connected real-time stuff, and you have polling systems. So it's real mess. And at the end of the day, what we found out is that a lot of companies just give up. They do not want, they stop trying implementing Industry 4.0 solutions, and either they fail or they usually give up. And the reason is that when you have so many systems, like in a typical factory, you have the blue boxes, which are the industrial machinery, and talking to the field sensor and actuators, you always have those parts. And then you often have the light blue parts like ERPs, and you want to do some database collection, you want to connect your data to some storage on cloud for preventive analysis, you want to do some charting. So whenever you do that, you need to create some custom software or buy adapters or use some solution to put in touch different systems. And you end up with a solution that is a kind of mess like this one, with different pieces of software putting in touch different applications. But even in this case, and even if it's so messy, you lack a total vision that allows you to create a workflow of the system. So even if you can put in touch some systems, you cannot have them talking in a coordinated way. And sometimes you end up developing a monolithic software that is able to talk all the different protocols, and that becomes a big software, but very hard to maintain and very complicated to develop. So that's why companies are struggling implementing Industry 4.0 solution, because the systems are so heterogeneous. And that's why we created IOhub. IOhub tries to solve all these problems. And IOhub is a kind of is a runtime system that allows you to put in touch different pieces of the system, software and hardware, talking exchanging different languages and protocols. So it's a communication runtime. And on top of that, it allows you to coordinate all the pieces together so you can build a complete Industry 4.0 system with a global vision without having to write coding application, just putting together pieces and coordinating everything. So in line of principle, IOhub is a real hub that has on one side the existing physical system, and on the other side, everything that is digital and you want to integrate and coordinate with the physical system. There are some systems on the market quite similar, implementing the same idea, but one of the main reasons IOhub is so different from the other systems available is that there is no vendor lock-in. So we developed IOhub 100% based on open technologies. So a line of principle, if to any current users of IOhub, if they decide they want to give up and do not use IOhub anymore, they just can use what they developed on any other possible hardware technologies, because what we have created is a kind of wrapper of open technologies like Docker images, for example. So everything is open source, open technology, no lock-in in any possible part of the system. So what can you do with IOhub? The main point is that the data is driving what's happening in a company, in a factory, and we are coordinating the systems in a company based on what's happening on data. Every time you have a sensor, you have an actuator, you have a digital system sending some information, we can trigger workflows and exchange information among the systems. So you can interface machines to MES, to ERPs, or any kind of digital system you have in line of principle, have all these kind of possible integrations, like talking to cloud systems, AWS, Azure, even talking to Google Home, MyQ, Alexa, smart switches, and so on. And IOhub also allows you to create a virtual factory spread around the world with no configuration, no networking. So all the IOhub instances can talk each other without having to implement any networking hardware or configuration. And before showing you some demo I would like to describe briefly, which is the architecture at a very high level. So not going into any technical details, but just to let you understand how it works. And then we can see some demo of how it is working. When we describe IOhub, we like to describe IOhub as it is in the blue box, as a box being surrounded by three sets of three portions of environments. On the left side, we have whatever we call the things, I mean, the field. So everything that is physical. Usually there you have your machinery, and on your machinery, you have installed some PLCs. They could talk any possible protocol like Modbus Step 7, OPC-UA, Ethernet IP, you name it. You might have physical sensor, everything that is talking to the field. And it's either actuating or sensing some values. On the right side, we have everything that is inside the factory, which is everything that the user is interacted with, like a charting system that are used on their desktop, on their computer, on their browser. You might have a database on-prem collecting real-time data. You might have notification systems like basic email or Slack, Telegram, Discord, whatever you want. And on the bottom, you have everything that is digital, but outside the company. So everything that is cloud-based. And these are just some examples of what we can do with IOhub, like Dropbox, integrate to AWS TimeStream, IoT Azure Hub, and pretty much everything that is available on the cloud, or maybe ERP, MES systems usable or directly on the cloud, as we will see in the example. So everything that is outside is usually classified in those three parts. And how it works, IOhub, the blue box, everything that is inside. We have a couple of core components. So the main spec, the main point in IOhub is that everything that is flowing, any kind of data that is flowing inside IOhub is flowing through an MQTT broker. So we create a kind of specification about classification of the data going back and forth different system and classified inside MQTT topics. So the main core of the system is an MQTT broker, allowing exchange of messaging among every possible different components. And we also have another core component that is called data exchanger, that is the coordinator of the data, because one part of the system is exchanging data among different protocols and systems, and the second part of the system is coordinate, create a kind of smart workflows, allowing to manage the unified data under the same hood and coordinate everything that is happening. So this is an example of how we create a very basic application that allows a user to see some chart of what's happening on the field. And on the field, we might have, for example, a Modbus PLC. In this case, we are creating an application including 5 Docker containers. We're talking about some technical words. And so you just select from the catalog those containers, creating a stack. And whenever you choose the Grafana stack, you get already installed and pre-configured these components inside your box. You can, of course, add, remove, modify, change, configure. But in line of principle, you have a system that is providing a Grafana charting system, providing charts to the user. You might have an InfluxDB database that is collecting real-time data, and it is used as a data source of the Grafana charting system. And then you have a converter between the unified messaging through MQTT from MQTT to the InfluxDB, converting messaging automatically to the database. And then you have something that needs to talk to the field. So we have a Modbus connector talking back and forth with the Modbus PLC. And in a couple of minutes, you can create an application reading data from a Modbus PLC and sending data to a Grafana charting system. The same stands for an Allen Bradley PLC, but in this case, you might want to send data to Azure IoT, for example. And so you want to collect some preventive data or summarizing data coming from different customers to the cloud. And you don't put any local database, no charting system, you just send the data to the cloud. But in case you want to show also might be a different set of data to the local user, you could also implement the same stack as we did before, together with sending data to the cloud. So these are just examples. You are not confined to use what we provide inside IOhub. You can extend any application with any existing Docker containers available. So let's say tomorrow you want to create your application using MySQL, Postgres, any kind of web interface, and any kind of application is available on some Docker registry. It can just be used inside Docker Hub and inside IOhub as if it is a native application. And in line of principle, you could also create your own stack, everything custom. In case you have a custom application, you might want to use IOhub just to provision to the machinery and maintain with your application. So no setup is needed, no configuration is needed. You can just deploy your application, develop on any technology you want, any language you like, any framework you want, because IOhub is not providing an SDK, a framework. It's just a runtime, allowing you to run any possible application you want to have, use, create, develop, as long as it is embeddable inside the Docker container. So this is pretty much it. And before diving into a full-fledged demo, I would like to show you a very small demo and see how it is organized, so you get the full picture of what is IOhub actually. So I have created, it really takes a couple of minutes, a small demo very similar to this one. So we have a charting system used by an internal user that is showing data coming from a PLC. In this case, it will not be Modbus, it will be an OPC-UA PLC, but it doesn't change anything, just showing one data. And so let's see what's happening here. I have here one simple PLC, and it's an OPC-UA PLC, and we have a system that is just simulating a tank with some water, with filling water, and we have a speed determining how fast the water is filled. And if we access the final result, which is this system here, we gotta log in, sorry. Skip. Okay, this is what we have. So we are measuring, we are showing here just one data that is this level here. So this is not a wonderful application. We are just showing one number coming from a PLC, but this is just to show how the application is structured. So as soon as we stop the system, the chart will get flat. But this is just to show how is the structure of the application. If I go to my management website, this is where I have all my IOhub installation, not only. Everything is managed through a website. There is no custom setup, no installation. Everything is managed remotely. And here I have just one box, the one I set up just for the webinar. And inside this box, I have now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 applications running. This application named Charting Simple is exactly this, the application providing this behavior. And as I was showing in the architecture, we have here 5 blocks. One block is the Grafana container providing this feature. Another block is the InfluxDB database, providing the data source that Grafana is using to show this chart. Another component is the MQTT to InfluxDB converter. It's the component that is getting data from the internal MQTT broker and sending data to the InfluxDB database. And then we have the internal MQTT broker. And this is the Grafana stack that you install in a couple of seconds. You just click the Grafana stack, boom, up and running. Then you have to define, to specify, to configure the system to tell, okay, where's the data coming from? I don't know. So I must provide some information about the PLC configuration, about the field configuration. So I'm adding, in this case, an OPC-UA container, so I can get data from this PLC here. And how it is configured, this is the only piece that is configured in the system. So we can just, this is the only pieces of configuration we're seeing today. I'm not diving into any technical stuff today, but just to show you how it is configured. This is the full configuration of the OPC-UA container. We have a name of the PLC, it can be whatever you want. We have a protocol, we have an IP address. We're telling the system, oh, the PLC is that IP address. A port, and then we have a set of addresses on the PLC we are going to read. In this case, we are just naming this address tank display level, could be named whatever you want. And this is the physical address inside the OPC-UA container. And then we're defining a notification alert. We're defining that, okay, I want to be notified every 250 milliseconds of whatever is changing on this address defined here, and that's the configuration. With this configuration in place, you have this system up and running. It's not super fancy, but this is just to show you how is the architecture working. If I try to edit this chart, you can see that I already have available this name just because I define here this name. As long as I am listing some addresses I want to read from the field, they are available. They are here because they get added to the InfluxDB, and Grafana is already able to show that that data is available in the database, and we're done. So again, this is just to show you the basic architecture. I'm now going to show you a bigger, let me go back to the architecture. A bigger demonstration we set up for the webinar. And this demo is going to show you how you can create an automated factory, including pretty much everything: ERPs, production, purchase orders, pretty much everything. Of course, it is an oversimplified example of what we can do, but the main point is to show how we integrate so many different systems, so heterogeneous, talking different protocols without writing a single line of code, and how we can orchestrate and organize so many different things. So in this example, we are simulating a factory having 3 extruders producing plastic pellets, taking their material from the silo. Each extruder has its own HMI, and we have designed an internal scheduler that we'll use to assign different batches, orders to different extruders. And then we're integrating an ERP on the cloud, not in the company. And everything is being managed by IOhub with an instance of IOhub, with one IOhub application. So the workflow we are trying to organize and simulate here is okay, we get a purchase order from the customer. We're happy. We create an invoice on our ERP. And since this moment, everything is being automatic, starts to be automatic. An internal production order gets created. With IOhub, it gets scheduled to a specific extruder, assigned to a specific extruder, the one that is available, the first one that is available. Otherwise, it's put in a queue until an extruder gets available. The operators is starting the extruder, starting the production. IOhub is sensing when the production is complete because it is reading numbers from a scale. And when the order is completed, a notification is sent to the customer through an email saying, okay, you can pick up your order. And we have a second workflow that is quite common. So whenever the silo, the level of the silos, of the two silos having two different materials, is going below a certain threshold that we set, we can send a low inventory notification to the system, and automatically a PO is generated for the material that is missing and sent automatically to the ERP for generation and then sent to the supplier. So this is pretty much what is happening. And this is, let me go back here. We start from, we are using Quickbooks just because Quickbooks allows us to create sandboxes instead of using a real ERP production system. Quickbooks is exposing an API, a REST API through HTTP. So from IOhub, we are integrating that API. So now I am the company getting a purchase order for some, I don't know, 30 pounds of material. Of course, no one is buying 30 pounds. Maybe they're buying 30 tons, but we cannot wait one full day to have the production completed. So we're talking about pounds instead of tons, just to simulate everything in minutes. So I am the company, and I get an order. I create an invoice, and this is the customer, and I'm just putting pallets, and how many? 30 pallets, whatever that means. And I've added
130 to your shopping list.
Stop, Alexa. Sorry about that. And so I have just created an order. Now, if I go back to the company, I am now another person. I am the operator in managing the production internally. And I see on my dashboard, we have created a dashboard using Grafana. Probably not the best choice. There are so different choices, but being so simple in this case, we just use Grafana for the dashboard. And here in this dashboard I created, we see the 3 extruder speed, which now is 0, level of silos, and the status of the production orders scheduled for the 3 extruders. Now I have order 1159, which is the order we just created, 1159, scheduled on extruder number 2, which is off, 30 pounds to be produced. So this IOhub, IOhub just read from Quickbooks that an invoice has been created and sent an order to the scheduler, which is another application inside IOhub, and the scheduler found out that the first available extruder is extruder number 2. So it assigned an extruder number 2 to the system, and the operator says, okay, I have to start the extruder number 2. So now I am the operator managing the extruder. Well, the only thing that is simulated inside this demo is the extruder. We do not have 3 extruder, of course, and we do not have 2 silos. So we are running a program just simulating the production of the extruder. That's the only thing that is simulated. In a real environment, it's much simpler. We don't have the simulation. We just read the values from the physical things. So again, it was extruder number 2. I am starting the extruder and setting the speed. Let's put it full speed. So the extruder 2 is on. The production manager is seeing that we're running 25 pounds an hour. This number should come from the scale. The scale is measuring what is being produced. And you see the real-time value of the silo going down. We are consuming material, and the scale is going up. As soon as we get to 30 pounds, something is happening. The scheduler sees that the production is complete. So it's happening probably now, every some seconds. So we are running everything very fast. And as soon as we see that the production is complete, the system is going to stop the extruder automatically. You probably saw on the left side that the extruder is stopped. And do you see my screen? I'm not sure you are seeing my screen now. Yes, you are seeing my screen. Okay. I just wanted to be sure that everything is being shown. Can anyone confirm? Lisa, Sandra?
I can see your screen.
Okay, perfect. Sorry about that, because I didn't see the green border around. Okay, perfect. So and that's simple. That's what we did. So again, let's put a couple of additional orders so we can create. Oh, something happened here. First of all, this silo, which is silos under number 1, went below a certain threshold. So the first thing that happened is that we got an automatic order. Today is 24th. This is the order 1118 created. And if we look at this order, we see that 100 pounds of polypropylene has been ordered. And again, we are running a simulation, and after 10 seconds, we send an order. We are filling up the silo just to be, instead of waiting for the truck coming, really filling the silo, we're automatically filling the silo. So this went up, and we added an order because we went below the threshold. At the same time, the customer, that is customer 1, the one that is the customer who created the invoice for, got an email. This is a fake SMTP server, just to simulate, not to send real emails. So we have an email that says, oh, your order number 1159 has been completed, and you can pick up your order. And we can now try to see how the scheduler works. And we can create a couple of additional invoices just to see how everything is being queued to the system. Let's do 30 again, save and send. Boom, let's create another invoice. Customer 2. Let's put pallets here, 45, save and send. Let's create a couple. So we have a queue of orders running. Again, pallets, 15. And then the last one. Let's create 4 invoices, 4 production orders to be scheduled. Boom, and this one 5. Save and send. If I go back to my dashboard now, I see that I have 3 production orders, 1160, 61, 62, which are the first 3 that have been scheduled. So I can just go back to tell my guy, oh, you have these orders, please run this order. And the guy is just starting the 3 extruder. Let's put that max speed so we do not wait a lot of time. And here on the dashboard, we see the extruder are on. The silos are getting, the level of the silos is going lower. These are the speeds of the extruders, which are 100%. Let's put this one lower. And in real time, we see that extruder number 3 is changing its speed. We see the scales here, and in the meanwhile, order 1163 is being queued. It's not there yet. Okay, now these systems are off, production is completed, and everything, and we should have here emails. Let's go back here, emails saying that, oh, your order is complete, 1662. So that's pretty much it. What I wanted to show is that you can, with IOhub, put together existing parts. And in this case, we're talking about an ERP, we're talking about a PLC managing extruder, just reading, a scale, reading value from a scale, silo, reading values from a silo. So you are exchanging data. And on top of that, you are organizing, creating kind of workflows that can implement a kind of orchestration between different systems. You have a Quickbooks system that is online, you have an email system that is somewhere else, you don't know, you have a PLC system, and everything you have seen can be managed in different locations as well. So you might have an extruder in Michigan, one in Ohio, one in California, and one in Tokyo, Japan. And the IOhub can talk each other. And everything you have seen, which is, again, it's an oversimplified simulation of a real company, has been created with no custom application, just choosing some available containers and using some high-level scripting through the exchanger container to integrate and define the workflow of the systems. So going back to, from current slide, going back to my system, I think my presentation of what is IOhub is pretty much done. There are many things we might cover talking about IOhub, and I didn't show any technical details, but it's super simple to create application. I mean, this complicated application, talking HTTP, OPC-UA, and organizing workflows took a little bit more than 1 day just to set it up, everything. And once you have created this kind of application, you can just replicate on different machines, different installation, just with one click. So I think I'm done, and I would like to hear if there are some questions regarding what we have seen until now. And I don't know how that works, if I have to leave the words to Sandra, Jose, or just wait for some questions.
Some questions are coming in.
Thank you. So, okay, one interesting question I see is that, okay, how do we provide IOhub? IOhub is a runtime that is running on some hardware. So this is an example of hardware running IOhub. We provide this hardware, and IOhub is a pre-installed live image, is rock solid, so it's ready for industrial application. You can turn on and off the power as long as you want, like for every PLC, so it's rock solid. It comes pre-installed here, and all the updates and configuration are done through the management website. You do not install anything on this guy here. You just manage the configuration from the website, and the point is, are there other devices that you can use? We have some certified devices as of today. This is one of the devices. We are providing IOhub on the Siemens Simatic and other devices, but this is new information on the roadmap. We have IOhub going open source. So it will not happen in the next weeks, but we're working on that. IOhub will be installable on any possible hardware you want to use. So you don't need to buy our certified hardware, including IOhub. You can buy your own hardware, the one that you like, and install IOhub, which will be totally open source. We will provide just the portal, the management website where you can configure and manage all your applications, but IOhub will come open source and not necessarily included. As of today, you need to buy one certified hardware with everything pre-installed. It can be this one or other hardwares. Okay, can I use Ignition with IOhub? So for someone that doesn't know Ignition is a wonderful SCADA system. Many people are using Ignition. And the main point of IOhub is not substituting PLCs, SCADA, database. The main point is to try to integrate every kind of system. So Ignition, using, for example, the vision module of Ignition on IOhub is a perfect solution, because you just install the Docker image of Ignition inside IOhub. It takes 1 minute and it's up and running. And then you can use the power, the flexibility of IOhub to talk different protocols. You can talk OPC-UA, MQTT, Ethernet IP, coordinate all the data, and you might use Ignition as a panel instead of using, for example, the dashboard we have created with Grafana. You might use Ignition. We have another system called Fuxa that you can integrate as a dashboard. So absolutely. So the point is that we are also talking, for example, to Canary. You might use Canary as a real-time database to collect data. You don't have to use a specific containers included in IOhub. You can include pretty much everything. You can integrate pretty much everything you want to use. So yes, absolutely. Ignition, the vision module. We have people using Ignition with IOhub, and that's a very good combination. Absolutely. Of course, you are paying to Ignition their licenses. We do not have anything to share with Ignition. We are just pre-installing or provide you a way to easy deploy, to give you an easy deployment provisioning of the Ignition software. Another question is IOhub residing on the edge or on the cloud? That's a super good question. Of course, as I'm showing this guy here, this is working on the edge. We will have pretty soon available another version of IOhub that will be on the cloud. Why is that? Because you might want to have all these guys here on the edge collecting data locally from machines, but then you might want to have an IOhub on the cloud collecting data and being stored on a shared database. Instead of sending data to AWS, to Google Cloud, to whatever, you might want just to send data to an InfluxDB that gets automatically installed on an IOhub on the cloud. So as of today, it's only on the edge, but there is another solution that is in the middle. As every IOhub can talk each other in a network. So just to show briefly how that works, inside IOhub, you can create networks, and a network is basically just name. You can create a network that is called webinar, and you can assign every IOhub instance, just selecting from here, from a list of networks. You can assign a specific IOhub to a specific network, and in that moment, they are totally integrated. So the MQTTs brokers are talking each other for free. So you might have an IOhub that is on-prem somewhere, not on the edge, but somewhere, and it's collecting data on-prem, which is not the same prem the edge is installed into. So you might have a database installed in Michigan, and the machine is working in California, and the data is just collecting. It's like having a private cloud for free. So let me go back to the questions. What are, okay, let's, what are the security measures for these appliances and applications? Okay, IOhub is a totally isolated system. There is no way you can enter IOhub. So the firewall on our box is totally blocking IOhub, both from the inside and the outside. So under the security point of view, it's like having a 100% closed firewalls. And the only possible thing, way IOhub are exchanging some data outside is when they are implementing a network. A network is physically like HTTPS SSL secure chat. So it's like talking on a secure chat. There's nothing else that is involved regarding security because everything that is inside IOhub is managed by you. If you want to use an InfluxDB that's locally, that's there. And if you want to use a cloud system like AWS TimeStream, the security measures are depending on how AWS is providing the security measures. So it's just a matter of, I mean, I would forward the question to the specific systems you are including in the application because there is pretty much nothing that IOhub is exposing under the security point of view. There are many questions. Is there a yearly subscription that I need to pay to use IOhub and its containers? No. IOhub is a one-time, lifetime subscriptions. So once you get the hardware, together with the hardware, you have IOhub, and you also have IOCon. We haven't talked about IOCon. IOCon is a kind of remote connection that comes for free together with IOhub. Maybe many of you are familiar with remote connection. It's very similar to other kind of remote connection you have. It comes totally integrated with IOhub. So everything that is available, you have seen containers from the catalog, everything is there for free. And every new container is added to the system, is there for free, but not only for IOhub users. So even if you are not an IOhub user, our containers are public. You can use them. I mean, if you want to create a Docker application and you like our Modbus container, you are free to use it. So it's not only that they're free for IOhub, they're totally free, they're totally open and free. So there is no payment. You buy the hardware, you have the IOhub license included, that's lifetime, and boom, you're done. That's it. Can we install other kind of application in IOhub device? I guess the question is, can we install any kind of application? Yes. In line of principle, you could potentially create a shop selling t-shirts. Why not? You can install your custom Docker containers implementing the logic of your web application. You can install a MySQL container. You can install an Apache Nginx container. You can put everything you want as long as it is packaged inside the Docker container. So as long as you can package your application inside the Docker container or a set of Docker containers, yes, in our management website, you just say which is the Docker name of the image, the Docker image name, and you're done. You can just use anything you want. Can you explain why IOhub is no vendor lock-in? Okay, that's a very, very interesting question. And I can answer with an example. So all the developers inside EasyVPN, when they develop an application for someone, they do not even use IOhub. They use a local Docker configuration system, and they run locally the system. So IOhub is not providing any kind of new technology. IOhub is provisioning and deploying and organizing in the best possible way everything that is available on some Docker register. So in line of principle, you can just take the same containers you are using on your Docker, on your IOhub application, and use them offline on your computer. Of course, you have to create the Docker wrapper, putting together all those systems, but there is no technology we are providing that is not open, available for free. Of course, you are losing the power, the flexibility, the easiness of deploying an application. You are doing everything manually. You have to install a Linux distro, a Docker system, configure everything, backups, disaster recovery, deployment. Everything is done manually, but you can do it. You just take the existing containers that are open, free for everyone, not even IOhub customers, and that's why it's not vendor lock-in. It's a kind of wrapper of Docker containers available everywhere with some simple provisioning and deployment. Is IOhub documented? If so, where I can find the documentation? And sure, the documentation is on the website easyvpn.online. Here, docs, we have IOhub docs, and here you have all the documentation of IOhub. And as I was mentioning before, let's pick out, I don't know, Allen Bradley container. The Allen Bradley container is a Docker image, and this is the address of the Docker image. Anyone can use it. It's fully documented. You don't even need to use IOhub. That's why IOhub is no vendor lock-in. Because, I mean, we are just putting together some containers created for you. Some of them are not created for you. They are available on Docker Hub. You can just put them together and you use them. So yes, this is the documentation available online on our website. Does IOhub require me to use the VPN service from EasyVPN, which is IOCon? No, I mean, you're an E1 customer, you can keep using E1. You don't have to use the EasyVPN remote connection. Of course, it comes for free. It would make, in my opinion, it would make no sense not to use it. But in line of principle, you are free to use anything you like. Can you throw more light about the management website? Does that mean I have to be connected to the internet to access this site? Are you hosting this website, or it's with end user? So the management website is what we do. It's actually our job. The management website is it's online, and you use the management website to take in charge, to adopt, we use the word adopt, any IOhub installation you buy. So you can here add a new box, you just fill in the serial number and it becomes yours. When you have your box, you just configure the application, and that's our portal. Of course, to manage the box, you have to be connected to the internet, and your box must be connected to the internet, so it gets automatically provisioned and configured. You don't have to install anything on your side. You connect the power cable, the Ethernet cable, you go on the management website, you fill in the serial number, and since that moment, you can configure, provision your application to the box. You just push deploy, and the box self-reboots, boom, up and running. There is nothing you have to do on the desktop, and everything is our job. That's mainly our business, the management website. That's what we do. Okay, what happens if I have any off-spec production? How IOhub deal with material quality data of the production? What happens if I have any off-spec production? I'm not sure I understood 100% the question. So I think it's a kind of how do I manage inside the production the quality. I mean, if you want to measure the quality, it means that you have some kind of sensors, logic, some kind of triggers. Let's say you have a Cognex vision system that is sending an alert telling you, oh, my vision system is saying that this piece is out of specs. So you just integrate to the Cognex system with the IOhub, and depending on the API they are exposing, and you manage that information as you like, as I did, for example, with the scheduler. And you can send a notification, you can write to the database, you can send an email, you can drive an actuator to I don't know, move something on the machine. I mean, as long as you have that information available on the field, you can integrate it in IOhub. As long as the protocol is a known one, and we're implementing pretty much every possible protocol, MQTT, OPC-UA, you name it. So yes, you can integrate pretty much everything. Can we get this demo to review the script? Yes, we were going to publish this demo on GitHub, on our GitHub. It will happen in a couple of weeks because we have an exhibition tomorrow and we are pretty much packed. So it was already in our roadmap to publish the demo to GitHub, available for everyone. I don't know if there is a way, maybe Sandra can tell anything on how to push the information, or maybe you can just reach us in a couple of weeks and then we will give you the GitHub location. But anyway, we have our repo on GitHub. GitHub, I think it's /userdpn if I'm not wrong. Okay, so this is our repo and it will be published there. So yes, you will be able to see that.
Paolo, maybe one suggestion is that when you have it ready, put a comment on open forum on our website and saying, you know, the script is available, and then provide the link.
Perfect, Jose. Thank you very much. Will you have some type of certification process for end user who choose to install IOhub on whatever hardware? So if we're talking about a hardware certification, as of today, we are the only one providing that certification. So let's say you are end user name A, and end user A want to use, I don't know, that Dell edge computer. The only thing we can do today is that we buy one of those devices and we check the specs and we slightly customize the firmware, and the customization depends just on the USB ports, whatever is outside. The inside is pretty much the same, there is no customization, but maybe that you have 3 USB ports and other hardware like this one has 4 USB ports. So today we have to slightly customize the firmware, and that will be automatically certified. It's something that we do for free. So if we have an end user asking for a specific hardware, there is no problem in creating a specific firmware. It will take a couple of days for us of work. It's super simple. Again, we just have to customize the USB ports, and that's pretty much it, the number of Ethernet ports. And in the future, we will have no certification because IOhub will be open and anyone can, if they want, customize their firmware, or they can ask us to do a specific certification process for their firmware. If the system integrator builds a project in IOhub and then delivers it to a customer, how difficult is to transfer the linked devices and the associated application to the customer for him to manage and maintain the system after the project is over? Okay, today we do not have a multi-tenant. We will deploy in a couple of weeks an export and import of the application. So let's say you are a system integrator, you are creating your application, you have your easy IOhub for your development kit, and you create the application. You will just push export, and the customer will push import. Once you are there, you have a concept of templates. Once you create an application, you can create a template out of this application, and then the deployment for the customer, for the end user, is just, okay, I create an application out of this template, 0 configuration, it takes 10 seconds, and that's it. As of today, the import-export is still in beta. We do not have it available, but it will be available in 2-3 weeks. I don't know exactly the roadmap, but I know they're working on that, and it's super simple.
Okay, you did a great job, Paolo, answering all these questions, and we had a very good attendance. And thank you very much for all those who attended and were actively engaged. So let me just share. Let me share my last remaining slides to close it out, because we totally used the full hour. So very good event. So on behalf of CSIA, I would like to thank Paolo for this informative discussion, and also like to thank EasyVPN for sponsoring this event. Of course, thanks all of you who attended this session. I'd like to remind you that the recording will be available for viewing within the next couple of days. And be sure to bookmark the CSIA events calendar such that you don't miss any of the upcoming events. As you know, we've been trying to do one event per week. We have this one in September, which is like a member mingle, and we're going to have a professional comedian. Last year, it was a hit, such a big hit, that we're repeating this new material. He's a very funny guy. And so if you like to learn more about CSA, here's our website, our exchange, information and phone number. So thanks again to all of you, and we look forward to the next virtual event. Thank you and have a great day.